Hey, good evening, Muthu.
Hello, Madhavan. What's up? What's happening today?
Yeah, today we're going to look at paper stocks, the stocks which are actually in the news a lot, and somehow we have not invested on any paper stocks. So I wanted to do some research and see if it's really worth investing on these. And it looks like the new theme on the horizon. So I just will go ahead with this. And if you have anything to add, please feel to stop me and add.
Sure, Madhavan, please.
Yeah. So let's look at 1 month performance. If you look at it, almost all paper stocks, barring Ballarpur Industries, which I have no idea what that is, should be a small cap, that has given a negative return. But if you look at Andhra Paper, starting from Andhra Paper to West Coast Paper, I think the average return over the month has been 20% when Nifty has been not doing that very well. So let's look at the reasons, triggers for growth for these paper stocks. So if you look at it, the one of the sectors which is least affected by this Russia-Ukraine tension is the paper industry. They have nothing to do with it. Neither the rising crude prices or the sanctions do not have much impact on this sector. That is one of the reasons. Another thing is, I think this could be the key reason. If you look at it, the unlock theme, demand is fueled by reopening of schools and other educational institutions. So the papers are more in use. And also, if you look at one of the commodity prices, the pulp and waste paper prices in international markets have gone up. And this could give margin benefits to these paper stocks. Now, since just like us, there could be people who have not taken to this, taken exposure to this sector. So what we thought would be a good way to take exposure to this sector is just not buy a single stock, because any news in one particular stock might derail the theme itself. So instead, buy a portfolio stock. We are suggesting buy at least 3, and generally prefer mid cap to large cap. The idea being, if you go for a small cap, sometimes the exit really becomes tough, especially when the news turns negatively. You can't exit these stocks, especially generally there happens to be more bad news in the smaller caps, and when the news hits, you can't exit. And we prefer leaders in some micro segments. I'll come to that later. And one of the stocks, I think it's a retail favorite, ITC, is we are suggesting. Yes, this is no means an stock recommendation because we are not SEBI registered investor advisors. These are the thoughts which we are just trying to put. So ITC, it just meets our criteria. It's a large cap.
And so we can say this is ITC is a leader for now, right? For this, at least with the paper.
Yeah, it is probably the biggest stock.
The biggest stock in this.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest.
And your first preference is ITC, right? Before getting into any mid cap, so you're preferring ITC, right?
Yes, like any retail investor, I'm also preferring ITC. Yeah, because the risk is very low. We have the dividend yield, which is comfortable. So even if the paper sector doesn't work out, it's a well diversified stock. So the dividend yield is also very good. So it's better to start with ITC. And if you want to buy only one stock, and ITC could be better because the stock itself is diversified. And if you look at ITC, they have exposure up to 5% on this paper industry. And if you look at paper plus packaging, it just goes slightly higher than that as well. So this definitely, if it's already there in your portfolio, you have some kind of exposure to this paper industry.
Yeah, maybe this could be one of the reasons why ITC is going up, right, continuously for last few years.
Yeah, it could be one of the many reasons. Suddenly ITC has woken up. Yeah, everybody are trying to find out reasons. Yeah, this also could be one of the reasons for it. And we'll look into the next stock. This comes a bit as a surprise. I think we were discussing about this some time ago. This is Century Textiles. I quickly looked into their exposure into paper industry. That's as high as 68%, which is very good.
We thought textiles.
Yeah, by the name, yeah, even I did think their exposure to textiles is going to be higher, but yeah, looks like they are more a paper and pulp industry rather than the textile industry, which is about 68%. So again, it's a bigger company. It's not traditionally a small cap. You can call it a mid cap. And again, the entry and exit into Century Textile should be fairly easy. And with 68% in paper, I think this is another less riskier stock if you want to expose yourself to this industry. Okay, next we'll go to the third. Okay, this company in the industry needs no introduction. I think everybody should have seen this, right?
Yeah.
JK Copier Papers. Yeah, this is a virtual monopoly. I can't even think of any other printout papers at the moment. Anywhere you go, you will only see JK Copier. So buy JK Paper. This is a pure paper and pulp play, and almost 100% of their revenues comes from this segment. And again, this meets our criteria because it's not a small cap. It is mid-capish kind of a stock, which again, we can take exposure to it. And this will make it pure exposure to a paper industry. If you look at it, we have chosen ITC, which had the least exposure and which was more diversified, which had about 5 to 10% in the paper industry. The next we saw Century Textiles, which had about 68% in paper industry. And now we are seeing JK Paper, which is having 100% exposure to this industry. And this is what I wanted to present and see if as a portfolio, this paper industry makes sense. And if you look at the key takeaways, it's this is what I felt. Muthu, if you feel anything different, you can let me know. And it's better to have a small exposure to paper stocks in the portfolio because this is not one of the key sectors of our economy. So it's better to have a smaller exposure. It gives you a kicker to our most portfolios. And it's better to buy a set of stocks, right? In this video, we just discussed ITC, Century Textile, and JK Paper. And there are definitely other companies which people can look into, provided they do the valid research or consult the research advisor. They can do either of the things. And what is more important, to keep a stop loss, because this sector has really gone up in the last 1 month. You could have a sharp fall, and the news is going to be a very key player. If even the paper pulp prices come down also is going to be a problem because it's kind of a commodity linked, which is a paper pulp prices. So it's important to keep a stop loss and you take a decent bet on this. It's going to be interesting reflection on your portfolio.
So I have a quick question here, Madhavan. You said this is you are saying that to take a small exposure in the entire portfolio, right? Yeah. So take a scenario, right? Investor or me having a lakh rupee. So when you say small exposure, what do you have in mind in percentage of a lakh? Like you have something in mind, like go invest 3%, 5% of your portfolio in paper sector. You have any numbers in your hand?
I think that's fair enough. I think 3 to 5% is very fair enough. I think I was thinking 5. I think even 3 is also a good option because considering this is not such a big industry, so even 3 would be very good. That's my thing. Yeah, not more than 5 because it's not a key sector. So it doesn't make sense to invest more than 5% in the sector at all.
Okay. And maybe another question here. So when you say keeping a stop loss, so you have any method of suggesting a stop loss for a stock like ITC or JK Paper? Like if I go into this price where the last couple of weeks it has already rallied much. So you have any numbers top of your mind so that we can consider that to keep a stop loss after we buying the stocks?
Generally, we look at stop losses around 15%. And even if you look at the rally in these stocks, right? Some of the stocks we have suggested has rallied up to 30% in the last 1 month. So 15 is going to be 50% of the rally is going to be a good stop loss. So yeah, to summarize, it could be 15% could be a good number we could look at.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So
I'll note that number.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
No, Mother, I think this is great. I will personally go with your suggestions. So thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for all your research you made and giving us these suggestions.
Yeah, this is the best I could do in this sector because I thought, yeah, this sector is somehow we have personally, right? In our discussions, we never discuss about paper stocks. And I thought this would be a good learning even for somebody like us who forget this sector. We look at majorly IT and banks, right? So this is kind of a forgotten sector. I thought we'll just bring it up for our discussion. Thanks, Muthu. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the
Thank you.